Hello and welcome to today's Confessions of a Global Changemaker. This is part of a series that was only going to be 14 videos, but I thought there's so much magic in my network that I cannot not share that with you. So today I have, oh my gosh, a dear friend, a mentor, somebody who's enabled me to dig deep and get my whole voice out there to the world. I mean, this woman played such an amazing role in my progress that I went from crushed as a result of my business partner leaving the business. I was crushed. I was like, whoa, hang on a minute. I've been able to hide behind the business up until now. And now all of a sudden, it's me that's got to get out there. It's me that's got to start speaking. It's me that's got to build my personal brand. Holy frickadoodles. I'm not ready for that. And of course, there's times that you can be in your own zone and not be out there getting your voice out there. But when you've got a speaking tour all around Canada and you need to be speaking 2 or 3 times a day for 9 days in the lead up to a major event, you need to start getting your mouth to move. And I just was paralyzed. And this amazing woman was able to shift me through that. And another event that I went to, the first event where I spoke to over 300 people, I was like, oh my God, I can't even imagine myself on that stage. And she just, oh my God, was just so amazing that I went on stage singing. Like, I didn't just get on stage, I went on stage singing, all because of this amazing lady that I'm going to introduce you tonight, who enabled me to liberate my voice. And hopefully tonight she'll give us some sneaky little tips, if we can be really nice to her, that will support you in liberating your voice as well. So without further ado, it gives me so much pleasure and my whole to introduce to you the amazing Judith Quin. Judith, hello, my gorgeous one.
Hello. Wow, what a build-up. I'm humbled and delighted, and thank you for having me here.
Oh, you are very welcome. I mean, we couldn't not, couldn't have a Confessions of a Global Changemaker series and not have the Judith Quin on here giving a few little confessions of her own. I mean, you're all about getting us to speak our truth tonight. I'm going to be pressing your buttons to get. It's my turn.
It's true. It's good. It's good. I've got to practice what I preach, right? So go for it.
Oh dear. Well, Judith, first of all, what you have achieved in such a I've watched your journey. We met each other, it must be 5 years ago when we first met?
It would have been towards the end of 2015, so about 4 years ago.
Yeah, about 4 years ago. And we met, and you came to one of my very early events when I had my business partner that you liberated me from. And this the first experiences that we had of each other were totally different to the one that we have now. And I've been able to really unpack the brand behind what you were doing. You came and spent a week with me at my house in France, and we just achieved so many amazing things. And your brand is just, I don't know of another Brand Builders Club member who has accelerated as quickly as you have created product as quickly as you have. And you might feel like it's taken you a long time, but that's only because it's been a long time coming. You've actually executed very quickly and to a very high standard. So I want to get behind that a bit as well today, because when you're thinking of creating a product for the first time, that can be scary. When you're thinking of going out there and speaking in front of people for the first time, that can be scary. So, how have you come to be so flipping amazingly courageous and confident and connected to your message? How have you been able to do that? What's your secret sauce, Judy Q?
Well, the biggest thing was that, the kind of 9 days that I had with you. So the 5 days one-on-one, and then the 4 days and the mastermind that you've now incorporated into the Brand Builders Club membership. And it was really getting that clarity on, I called you the clarity queen after that, because I was in that space of, I had what I was doing, what I was doing, which is helping people with public speaking, but I was also still actively an actress and a massage therapist and an energy worker. So I was doing all this stuff, and I was, as you do when you first start coaching, you know, you try to be like, but I can coach the world and I can do everything. So it was getting that real clarity on that what I do is so much more than public speaking.
Yeah.
It's, you know, that was the thing you said to me. You turned around and you went, oh my God, if I'd known this is what you do, because I think we'd known each other about a year and a half at that point. You're like, if I'd known the whole of what you do, like you would have been the first person I came to. So it was that real awareness that actually what I offer is so much different to other public speaking coaches or communication coaches, that because I'm all about the inside and sorting out the inside and then doing the structure, the presentation, the posture, all of that stuff. So that clarity really created what it is I do, and integrated. You helped me do what I do for other people, which is integrate your whole self into what you do. So you know, you helped me bring the sound healing into the public speaking, into the communication, and making it one. So that's how I got my clarity, and that was the biggest jump. And once I had the jump, once I had that clarity, my vision, my mission, my values, once I realized that my vision and mission, which, and this is in the How to Build a Brand group, isn't it? So for those who are in here and aren't in the Brand Builders Club, your vision, your mission, your pitch, your values, they're the first steps you do. But once I realized that they were also adaptable to every service and every product. So you have your overview of what you really stand for, but then different products could have slightly different pitches, slightly different visions and missions. That freed me from the whole thing of, but I just have to do one thing. It was like, oh no, there is a core that runs through the work, and that clarity, and then having the ability to adapt, meant that all the ideas I had in my head could then slot into where they belonged.
Yeah. And you know, if you think about it, going back then, and for those of you, and come and say hi, by the way, let us know in the comments, like put your name, because I can't always see your name. I see these comments, but yeah, if you stick your name at the end of it, then I'll know who it is that we're talking to. You know, one of the things that I find quite a lot, and this was one of the things that happened with you, Judith, and I'm sure you won't mind me sharing this. Maybe for those of you that are watching this interview now, you've got a little bit of that you know, hesitation with your own brand as well. But one of the things that you were saying was, how do I fit all this all in? Because, you know, I've got this real spiritual element to my business, but I'm really worried that if I bring that into what I'm doing, that I'll put all of my clients off, you know, I'll put all my ideal clients off. And that was a concern. And actually, there's a lot of people that have that concern about, oh no, you know, what will people think of me if I bring the kind of light worker side into it? Or, you know, maybe it's, you know, you're working, like as you do, you're working with corporates, but then you also work with entrepreneurs. You also work with consumers, the public, and so you've got all these different audiences. How can I actually create a brand that serves all of them, that I'm still niched, but I'm not suffocated by the branding as such? And so, you know, that's what we worked on very closely. We've got some comments in here. Habit Breaker, hello. Oh my goodness, it's great to see you, Christine. Olivia listening in. Hi, Olivia. Simon, fabulous. Hi, great to see you. Can't wait to play this weekend. So Judith, one of the things that was really interesting was Christine, who's on the call right now, and we're at the Manchester Thinkubator in Manchester, believe it or not, last week, and she picked me up from the station, because I'd come from somewhere, I don't know where I'd been speaking in Cardiff, I think, and so she picked me up from the station, and we were driving to go to the Thinkubator, and I said, right, come on, give me all the juice, because, like, you know, she'd just come off of your retreat. And I said, tell me what happened, like, how is it going? And she says, well, she said, I thought I was going on a public speaking retreat. I said, did you? She said, yes. And I said, okay, then you probably got a lot more than that, didn't you? She said, yes, I did. because there's so many levels that you go to, because it, you know, like with anything, you know, it's not just about the speaking, it's what's behind that. What is it that's stopping you? How can we liberate those areas? I know that when you worked with me, we went right back to childhood. We went into all kinds of different areas, and you know, I'm sure you don't do that every single time, because you focus on what the person in front of you actually needs, and it's different each time. But I'm sure there's some recurring themes that go through all of it. What would you say is like the number one key thing that when people come to you, it's like, yeah, okay, I've heard this one, and they might say it in a roundabout different way, but actually it's the same thing really that they're actually saying? What would you say is the most common thing that people come to you for?
Well, the most common thing people come to me for is the ability to speak up in situations where they feel like, who am I to be sharing my voice? And so it doesn't matter what that situation is. It's the feeling of, who am I to be doing that? But interestingly, the core element is that with most of my clients, we do go back to childhood. It's always a different stage. It's never the same thing, but it's because that uncertainty of who am I comes from, and often it's a situation that's not related to speaking at all, but it is about expressing yourself. So that's the core element. When we find that, we can break the lock and break out, and that's, you know, that's tough. And for me, when I was sharing my message, I mean, you know, this is Confessions of a Global Changemaker. So, you know, my thing was, I was happy being spiritual in my spiritual world. But I was like, what happens if my corporate people find out about that? What will they? But actually, I still have a separate corporate website to my main website. But even on that corporate website, I use language such as your voice vibration and the energy when you move into a room, and creating connection so that there is a higher purpose and understanding of what that purpose is. Because if I'm not using that language, I'm not true to me. Do I use chakra spirituality on my corporate website? No. But the essence of the language is there. And that, you know, my confession is I wasn't using my whole voice. But also, you know, the bigger confession is that when you do, it makes a difference, and you can find the language. So if your thing is going into corporate and you are spiritual, don't be afraid of it, because it gives a different angle, and you don't have to use the word spiritual, but you can find phrases and words. So for me, like vibration and energy, connection, higher purpose, bigger purpose, that actually really resonate in the corporate world, particularly now. They're all looking to connect to purpose, and purpose connects to either team or clients or customers. So
yeah, there's a massive element within the corporate playing field where, you know, they're more and more that, you know, it didn't used to be this way, because it, you know, now it's not so much a kind of top down. There's a lot more companies now that are actually realizing that their employees are actually the people that they're on the front line. They're the ones that you need to work with them and focus on, you know, them being healthy and them being happy, because they're the ones that run your company. And, you know, when it comes to going in and doing something like this kind of work, there is this misconception that, oh no, you know, I've got to act in a certain way. And well, of course you do, you know, you have to be professional, but then there's also, you need to bring your whole self into work. You need to bring your whole self into the team. And that's one of the things that you've been doing really, really well. Now, what I really want to get into as well, while we're talking about this, in terms of bringing your whole self to it, when you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, and it's you in your, I mean, like, if you could write in the comments here, like, how are you on your own in your business? Is it just you? Are you one of a power team? Are there, you know, have you got a business partner? Are you running a bigger company? If you could pop that in the comments, so, you know, we can speak to that, because obviously we want to focus on supporting you in the way that works for you, and not talk about other things that don't work for you.
Are you an employee looking to get out and start your own business?
Right. So, who are you at the moment, and and where is it you want to get to? Do you want to get to the point you have a team, or actually do you not want that responsibility? So pop that in the comments here. Judith, when there's a theme that's kind of running through this whole series that I didn't set out for it to have, but it seems to have it, is this whole, burning out, getting to a point of exhaustion, there has to be another way moment. We've all been through those moments. Mm-hmm. Is there a time you've been through that, and what was your lesson as you went through it?
So it's what I lovingly refer to now as my blip, which was the summer of 2016, and that is before I came and spent the time with you. It was when I was acting, and as an actor, I was also an agent in an agency that's run by actors for actors. So one whole day a week, I was being an agent, I was being an actor, I was being a massage therapist, I was being a sound healer, I was being a life coach, vocal confidence coach, trying to set up the corporate business, live on my own, work on my own, single. If you've been watching the whole way through, you saw my cat. I didn't have her, so I had no company.
Carly kitten.
Carly cat, yeah, she's gone out again now. So that was my situation, and I was waking up every morning not wanting to be here anymore. So my blip was being slightly suicidal. And luckily, because of all the work that I have done on myself and all the training I have done, long story short, I managed to get myself out of that position. I wouldn't recommend that to everyone. What I would recommend is go for help, ask for help, which I did in ways, but that's a longer story that we don't have time for. But I got myself through that. And one of the ways I got myself through that was by creating structure. So my biggest lesson was to have structure. And so my structure was, I allowed myself half an hour in the mornings to cry and feel sorry for myself. Then I had to get out of bed and write my book for at least an hour or 90 minutes. And then I had to go out for a half-hour walk. And having that structure really helped create less overwhelm. And then obviously the other thing I did was start telling people. So I did get to the point where people were like, how are you? And I'd be like, slightly suicidal actually, but that's not your fault. So, bad question. What's good in your world? Better question. But
what's good in your world? Yeah, that's a good one. That's actually a really good lesson. Like, how many times do we say, how are you? And then they like hand over this chair. Here's this chair for you to carry around for the rest of your day. It's really, really heavy, but at least I don't have it anymore. Here you go.
Yeah. So have structure, and also in the business, that's the more structure I have, and I'm freedom, like you, freedom is one of my big values, and creativity, and I need space to be creative. So, but structure gives you that freedom, and the more, and I'm still not great, I'm getting better, but the more structure I'm putting into my business, I now have a virtual PA 5 hours a week. I have an accountant. So yay, Sammy, I finally got that team I've been talking about. Then I have automated stuff. So the more you put that structure in, the easier it does become. And for some people in the How to Build a Brand group, the concept of even global change maker might be terrifying. You're like, I don't want to go be global. I want to be the best I don't know, ballet shop in a 50-mile radius, or I'm not a change maker. But so it's even that looking at the structure differently and going, oh, actually I make changes in people's lives. No matter whether that's you make a purchasing system easier, or whether you are an accountant and you make people's lives easier like that, whether you have a shop, whether you have a business or a service, in some way you're making people's lives easier, and that changes them. And the good thing to remember is you don't have to be global. If you come into the Brand Builders group, Sammy might encourage you that that's a possibility, but don't feel the pressure of it, because again, that kind of had me a little bit in overwhelm at one point. I was like, oh my God, and I have a global vision. It's, I'm building a global vocal liberation. So that vision is global, but you can start local. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed by the concept of that. And don't go, oh, global change maker, that's not for me, because it's not about who we are now. It's about where we're going to.
Yeah.
And you'd be amazed how suddenly you can, things can go global, even if it's, it doesn't have to be at a massive scale yet either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think, there's this, that's a really good point, because there's so many people that they come into the Brand Builders Club community and they're like, okay, so I know I want to make a difference. I know that there's a bigger purpose for me, not quite sure what it is, need to work it out. I've been hearing the calling, or I've been feeling like I need to do something, and I need help. They don't use the words necessarily, but what I really am hearing is liberate me so that I can help liberate others. And so we really, especially between you and I as a power team, is liberating that voice, liberating the message, and then branding it so the world can get access to it. Even if you don't think of yourself as a change maker, I love what you just said. Even if you're just making small changes in someone else's life, you're still a change maker. And even if you post on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn, and you might not think you're a global business, the minute that you post something, I mean, how many of you have got a Facebook account or a Twitter account or Instagram account or LinkedIn account? Give me a yes, yes, yes if you've got one, any one of those, and you've posted in the last week. Well, as soon as you put that post out there, you are global already, because you don't just have people who are just within your street anymore. And even if you did only want to do business with people who live only on your street, you'd probably find on your one street alone, you have at least 3 to 5 different cultures, even on your road. So you've got to think in a more global way. You can't afford not to anymore. Because it doesn't matter where you're going. What you do, it is global already. Sorry if you didn't want to hear that. We're here to give you the truth, right? This is the confession.
And also, one of the things that I did at the beginning, and I don't do, I think now if I catch myself doing it, I will upbraid myself. But at the beginning, I'd be like, oh, well, they don't count because, I don't know, my brother buying my book doesn't count. My brother in Canada, right? Because he's my brother. Or my friend in New Zealand buying my deck of Oracle cards doesn't count because they're my friend. So don't allow yourself to discount your friends and family, because actually they may have bought it because you are their brother, sister, aunt, whoever, best friend. But you don't know who they're showing it to, who then might buy it. My mum shared my book when it came out on her, I don't know, she does some internet game thing I don't understand. Farming thingamajig, but her people, she's got 4 in America, 1 in China, and 1 somewhere else. And 2 of the American people bought it just because my mum went, oh, my daughter released her book today, and they went, what? Send us the link. So don't discount friends and family, because every person counts. You never know where that impact's going to go. I talk all the time about it's the people I work with. Because of Sammy, my big vision number is at the moment 100 million. It'll probably go up, but I'm sticking with that for now. Obviously, I'm not going to work one-on-one with 100 million people, but when I work with Sammy, she's one of my pebbles. Sammy's actually one of my rocks, right? And you chuck that pebble into the pond, and the ripples it creates, the lives that those people impact, that is how your impact goes. So like Sammy says, if you are, you've got a local business and you give someone a massage and it makes them happier, and they go to work the next day happier, and they are a general manager, and it means they don't take it out on their team and they have an easier day, which means they go home and they're nicer to their family. You're already impacting so many more lives than you know.
That's a big message. That's a really big message. This whole discussion, again, I love this because we haven't covered this yet. This whole friends and family around you in business, and kind of discounting them because they're family. I think there's a massive amount to be said for having that support in your family. It's critical, in fact. And there's so many people that that are in Brand Builders Club, you know, without, I'm not going to name anybody, but within Brand Builders, there's so many people who don't have that supportive husband or wife, or they don't
we've lost
have
Sammy. I don't know that we've lost Sammy, or if, oh no, she's coming back.
Oh, here.
So, Sammy, are you still there, or am I not here?
I can still see it. I don't. My back. I can hear you perfect. Can you hear me?
I'm still here.
And girls, if you could put in the comments, can you hear us both? Is it all well?
I think we're both back.
Well, I'm just going to, okay, if you, okay, we're back. We're back in the room. Okay. The brains keep us going. You know, just 4 more minutes, internet. Come on. So, you know, there's a lot of people that I know, especially in the Brand Builders Club, who have said, you know, that they don't have that support. They don't have that support life or fans, and feel like the hacking they don't. It's on your own. You're just in a position where, you know, you lose some of that confidence if you haven't got that team, that power team around you. You can start going back smaller mindset, that's that little you, where you get focused on you, whereas when you're surrounded by like people like us that are just going, come on, you know, all right, so you're having a shit day, but there's 100,000 people that need to hear the fact that you're having a shit day, because they're having a shit day too. You know, bleed all over them, let them know what's happening, because the strength lies in the vulnerability, bringing your whole self to social media. Don't just show all the glitz and the glamour and the gloss. You know, people see your whole self.
And you never know who's following you, who's listening to you. Again, when I put my Oracle card deck out, and I know we were, you know, maybe going to touch on this, but I know you've got another call in 3 minutes. But when I put
no, we're all good. Coming on tomorrow now.
I created a product. Here it is. It's like magic.
Show. Yeah.
But there are people who bought this, and I had no idea who they were. And there's a woman in Canada. She bought 2 decks. I was like, oh, do you mind if I just ask, you know, how you found me? And she said, oh, I follow you on Instagram. I've been following you on Instagram for ages. So, you know, you could create something amazing and beautiful like these 2. Yeah. And you never know where your impact's going. I had someone in Australia buy them who I've never met before. There's someone who I know. There's a brand builder, the lovely Leanne Pogson. She bought 3 decks to give to friends. There's someone I know in Germany who bought 3 decks. You know, they're now in a shop. You just don't know where your influence is going when you're posting stuff. Like the woman in Canada, the person in Australia, I think it was someone in where else? Someone in America that I didn't know who bought them. So when you're putting yourself out there, like Sammy said, as soon as you put a post on a social media space, you're global.
You are. And Judith, like, one of the things that I think you have, I mean, you always knew this, and I mean, how many of you have been to a course where you've learned social media, or you've been told how to create a mini course, or you've learned how to do your copywriting or blogging or whatever, right? Like, you know, how many of you have been on more than one course to learn the thing that you're doing now, and you thought that it would be so much harder than it is, and then you went and did it, and you thought, oh, actually, now that's out there, I don't have to be the person that's showing up anymore. And that was one of the things, I think, Judith, for you, certainly, you know, when you started to publish books, I think you've published, is it 2 books, and then you've been part of another 2?
I've published 1. The second one is underway, and then I've got a chapter in 3 others, and the Oracle cards.
Right. So you got 4 books that are out there. Yeah, you've got your CD, you've got your cards. So you've found a way that is in integrity with the message of your brand, that's enabled you to get your voice out there in many ways. And one of the things that you've done, you just said that you've been in several books where it's part of a collective, a collaboration on getting the messages out there. So I know for certain, because I was part of the branding of it, that with the Pay It Forward series, Notes to My Younger Self, there's 18 women in each of those books. And so there's another 17 people in that book, as well as yourself, that are all getting it out there, that are all spreading that message to the world. So you're not then doing it just on your own. And that's a very intelligent way, especially for those of you watching now. Absolutely publish your own book, but you've got to then promote your own book. If you also go into a collaboration book, it means that you've just multiplied the amount of networks that you're able to go into. So it's if there's something coming up where, as soon as Kezia puts her message out there about looking for the next Pay It Forward series authors, I really encourage you to be a part of that, because it's a great way of surrounding yourself with book sisters that are also, all of them aiming to get it onto Oprah's sofa and, getting it in parts of the world that you couldn't get on your own. Yay, look. Could you turn it around and hold all the pictures of the other Pay It Forward ladies? There you go. Yay! And I just love that almost half of them are Brand Builders Club members, and that happens each time. So very proud. Judith, you have
part of being a member of the Brand Builders Club as well. There is the family. It's given me amazing support and connection, but it's also that clarity of what I'm doing and who I am. But there's also that thing of, you were saying the other day in my testimonial video for the 7-day retreat, I love that so many of them are brand builders. I haven't just had brand builders come on the retreat, but because of the way we work, we become more comfortable and we understand the importance of supporting each other. So when I asked for a video testimonial, as much as Chrissy, for example, was like, oh God, I really don't want to go on video, but yes, because I know the importance of it. That's why there's a sort of disproportionate number of brand builders in my testimonial videos, because we support each other, because we are there for each other. And you teach us the importance of like video testimonials, for example.
Yeah, and that, I mean, there's no bigger credibility than word of mouth, and it makes it so easy to open the door. And collaboration, partnership, championship of each other, it's so much easier to achieve what you're doing. One of the other reasons that I set Brand Builders Club up was because I find it so much easier to have a business partner, because when I want to get something out there, and I'm confident that I've got other people around me that when I need to, I can pull on those skills. That gives me more confidence in me being able to grow my business. But that doesn't mean you have to have a business partner in your business. You've got a whole world of partnerships within Brand Builders where you don't have to have any ownership of each other's businesses, but you can still support each other. You can still get out there, and actually you're reaching so many other networks by collaborating. I mean, one of the things that I'm most excited about, oh my God, I can't believe it's tomorrow, because this has been like 9 months. I don't know what it is about me. Clearly I need to birth, because everything I do, it's like there's this 9-month lead point up to it. And so I've been planning Vision, Voice and Visibility Summit for 9 months, and it births this weekend. And, like what I'm most looking forward to in that room is there are so many people from so many different countries that are coming to it. Some people are flying in today, other people, like, we've got Bali, we've got Malaysia, we've got Australia, we've got all over the States. John and Vicky signed up from Canada a few days ago. There's people literally coming in from all over the world that are just so special to me, and some of them have then invited other people that are special to them. And so there's a whole room that's filled with this eclectic group of the most extraordinary minds. And what I'm really most looking forward to is seeing the magic of every single person in the room walk up to someone else and say, I don't even know you yet, but how can I support you? What do you need, and how can I support you? Who might I know I can connect you with? How can I interview you on my radio show or my podcast, or how can I feature you in my blog? It's a kind of how can you build your brand in a better way, in a bigger way, because I'm showing up for you in this moment. What can I do to support? And that to me is a very, very different energy than most events that you go to, where it's like, how can I like, how can I get the most out of this, and what can I take away from this? And that it's just well, I mean, you've been coming to my events now for 4 years, nearly 5 years. You have, you know, and you've pretty much been at every single one. And you came on tour with me a few months ago. We went all around Holland and America. We've done some really good work together around the world. And I loved the fact that Angie and other brand builders, as we were traveling around, were putting things on for you. And Angie like filled a room of people, and we went and did like a sound healing meditation in Atlanta. And, you know, we when we were driving across from, where were we going? I think we were in South Florida. We'd run the event in Fort Lauderdale, and we were going through to Orlando. And then, you know, these signs kept coming for Disney, and we all looked at each other, 5 of us in the car, and we're like, it'd be really rude not to go to Disney for the day, wouldn't it? We just like threw everything out the window. It was like, right, let's go. And we just literally came off at the next turn off. That was it. We were in Disney for the day. But that's the power of being an entrepreneur and collaborating, though, isn't it? Because you get to go all around the world, and you get to have fun as you do it. Why wouldn't you want that?
And taking the risk. And I know my next big risk is, you know, the bank account's in the same state it was last year when I decided to go to America with you, which is gently flowing, but not exactly promising, you know, waterfalls at the moment. But I'm going to Australia and New Zealand in February because I met someone at the signing for my Oracle card deck in Avebury at the shop there that's stocking them. She's from Australia, and she wanted to get people in the room with me. She's not even experienced the work fully. And she's got 25 people who want to come to a one-day workshop. I've got a friend in New Zealand who wants to do the same. So it's that thing of saying yes as well, and trusting what's true and going with it. And for me, as you know, it's all about creating connections.
It is. And the thing is, right, Greg had to point this out to me. This time last year, I was so down. I remember standing, like, we've got 2 kitchens, and I was in the back kitchen, and I remember stood there, and I had the fridge open, and I was just looking in, like, I didn't even know why I was looking in the fridge. I was just stood there with the fridge open, and I just burst into tears. And Greg came in, and he was like, "What's the matter?" And I said, "There's hardly anything in the fridge." And he went, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, like, I feel like we've got less money than we've ever had before. You know, I'm looking in the fridge. We should be at a point now where everything is flowing. Why are we not at this point where everything's flowing?" So he takes my hand off the fridge door. He closes the fridge door. He turns around, and he kind of puts his hands on my shoulders, really looks me in the eye. He's like 6'4", my husband. So I'm looking into his eyes. And he said, "Sammy, do you realize how much you've invested in yourself and the business this year?" I said, "No." He said, "You've been at home for 7 weeks out of the whole of this year. You've traveled the world. You've been on 2 documentaries. You've put so much into the technology of your business. Like, you've invested. Is it any wonder you're stood there looking at an empty fridge? Because you've given everything you have and more to what you're doing, because you believe in it so much, because you have so much faith in it. So now, do you feel like you're poor, or do you feel like you're actually very wealthy and you just made a choice to invest everything you had in that thing? It means going without some things, but, you know, do you see what I mean now?" And I said, "I get it." So sometimes you could be looking at your bank account and thinking, for fuck's sake, I've been doing this too long to be this freaking poor, right? But actually, when you give everything to it, your bank account might not look bigger. This is a message for all of you. It might not look bigger than it did this time last year. It might actually have less in it. But think how much richer you are in your education, in your wealth of experience, in the amount of trust people have in you. I mean, holy fuckadoodles, right? You can't buy trust, but you have it, don't you? You have it. And that is like the biggest currency you could ever have in business. When you've got that trust currency, the rest of it just falls into place, because then you've got that relationship with people. And I just want you to go into this Christmas, if you're feeling like that. And Judith, I know you have so much faith in what you're doing. I mean, we literally had about 5 or 6 days ago, and Kersey, the film producer who's coming over, she arrives very soon. You know, she says to me, right, okay, Sammy, if we're going to do this, so I'm going to need this many thousands of dollars deposited into the account. I need this to happen. You need to book my flights. I've got to get this done. I'm like, And I'm thinking, okay, so we've just spent around 60 grand on this event. Do we have the money to do that? Not really, but I'm not going to get into that mindset. How can I create the money to be able to do that? I said, don't worry, it'll be sorted by tomorrow. James will book the flights for you and everything. We had no idea. I feel like much of the time in this business, and maybe you feel that as well, Judith, and those of you watching, have you ever seen that movie? I don't know what Indiana Jones movie it is, but he's looking in front of him and the bridge isn't there. Like he's going to take a step and he's going to go straight off the edge. He puts his foot down, the step appears underneath his foot. And then he takes and the step appears underneath his foot. And it's just like, you know, there are times where I'm like, this is close. This is really close. But when you care and you're committed, it just always happens. There's Garlic Kitten. Christine, I totally understand. I take risks, but it's because I believe. My family and friends think I'm nuts for the amount I invest in myself so that I can serve my people to the fullest. I think that's a very, very big thing, you know. It's the faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. As long as you've got faith, you can do anything. You can achieve anything. So Judith, I think you've been at home a bit more since we've come back from our tour. Your Carly kitten, she's probably very happy because she's seeing a lot more of her mum these days.
Oh, yeah, I've kind of been here, there, and everywhere still too, but it's good. Maybe next year I'll be at home a little bit more, but maybe I'll carry on traveling. Yeah,
or maybe you'll come and stay with me on my boat. Well, we'll exactly. Go pop.
So yay.
Judith, what do you want to get out of the summit this weekend? What's the biggest thing for you that you want to come away with?
You know what it is with me. It's always connection. It's human connection and a real feeling of knowing people better, knowing what they do better, so that I can genuinely recommend them, so that I can maybe collaborate. Who knows? But it's for me, it's that real understanding of who's in the room, because there's so much you can do online, and because my business is growing, I'm online less. So a lot of people are sort of faces, and then other people, obviously, I know much better. But it's that understanding of who people are, and what I love most is it's generally in the conversations we have outside of the lessons, outside of the room, where we spark ideas in each other and support each other. So for me, I know it's that, because that just strengthens the connection, strengthens that impact, and reminds you that what you're doing has value beyond what you can imagine.
Yeah. And you certainly are that value for so many lives. I appreciate you. I'm so grateful for you being in our lives. I love that you're one of the leaders within Bramble, showing up for the Momentum Mondays, master message calls. You know, it's about showing, and when you show up, it really does give that confidence to show up. I had Sharon, one of the she was on the call yesterday to taking part, and she said to me, we were having a chat, and she said, oh my God, you make these interviews look so easy, you know, and you just show up all the time, like you're there at 8 o'clock every morning and you're there again at 5:30 at night. And she said, you know, I just couldn't do what you do, the way you do it. And I said, the only reason I can do what I do is because I don't allow myself time to think about it. I get on here just before we're about to go live. I don't know what the questions are going to be. I just trust, I have faith that whatever the message is that's meant to come through in that moment, that's the message that's meant to come through. And she said, but you must prepare for ages. I said, are you kidding? I said, I roll out of bed at about 10 to 8 in the morning, sometimes 5 to 8. I roll out of bed, brush my teeth, sort my hair out. I'm downstairs. you know, and I'm on within 5 minutes, because I don't ever want to get to that point where my content is premeditated. I want it to come from the heart. You know, and I think for those of you who might be thinking, you know, I've got to have done and make, yes, you want to look presentable. I mean, you don't want to look necessarily out of brand, but at the same time, if you hold your message back just because you don't feel like you're ready to be ready, then
You'll
you know there's a whole
ready.
no, you won't be ready. And if anything that we can leave you with today is that is as important as anything, it is to really liberate your voice, because when you show up, other people do as well. Judith, thank you so much for being on here with us. I can't wait to see you. Are you traveling up to the summit tomorrow, or are you coming Saturday?
Yep. No, coming up tomorrow. So we're going to leave about 11:30. So yeah, should be there for tomorrow evening.
Fabulous. And you've got Susie coming with you, haven't you?
No, Susie's now getting a lift with someone else, because they're coming up and back, because I'm going off to Leeds afterwards. Okay. But I'm bringing Shane up with me.
Oh, fabulous.
So, because Shane's here.
Make sure she brings
she's staying at the hotel, and then I'm sharing with Chrissy and Rihanna and Big Etta.
Fabulous. Oh wow, that's a powerhouse, literally.
We're going to be having karaoke fun. Sorry, I mean, we're going to be preparing for the next day.
As long as I get an invite, I don't mind. All right. Well, I'm sending all of you that are watching this, thank you for joining us today, for showing up for yourself, for showing up for Judith, and for showing up for others in the way that you do, with you being that one drop that you want to see in the world. If you haven't got your ticket, or you want to live stream in, the ticket link is at the bottom of the screen right now. You know, it's just so amazing. I've had quite a few people actually over the last couple of days that have said, we just can't make it, but we wish we could be there. Even if you can't be there, even if you're like, well, even if I live stream in, I'm not going to be able to see, because I've got to be here and I've got the kids there and I've got this happening. You get all of the recordings of each speaker, so it's still worth doing it, and you have access to those recordings for the whole year until we run our next one in Miami from the 5th to the 8th of December next year. So if you can't make it this year, put that in your diary, fly over to Miami, let's go and have some fun, and also do some brilliant business as we travel. So take care. I'll be back tomorrow 8 a.m. To give you step 2, because we're doing a 5-step series now, which is all on how you can attract more of those qualified leads. We don't just want to attract anyone, we want to attract the right people in the right way first time. So it's step 2 of a 5-part series tomorrow at 8 a.m. and I'll be back tomorrow. I think we've got Phyllis Benstein, she's going to be here tomorrow's interview, and we've got some brilliant things lined up for you at 5:30 p.m. GMT. So Christine, thank you for really getting involved tonight, and for all these beautiful messages. I can see I've got a Facebook user. Love that, Sammy. Holy fuckadoodles. I'm so glad that out of all the things we say, usually something like that is the most remembered thing. It doesn't say your name though, so thank you so much for showing up. And I will. Oh, Christine is. I'm on stage in Miami for sure. That's my next intention. And she's got her karaoke outfit ready, apparently. I
didn't know we had an outfit. I was planning on pajamas.
Oh my gosh, I definitely need photos. We did some good improv stuff while we were in Florida, so I want photos and videos. Just promise me that. Take care, guys and girls. Have an amazing evening. Christine, I will see you very soon when you get here, and I'm sending you loads and loads of love. I will see you somehow in this group at some point. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.